ongoing campaign, Let's Connect via Cisco Webex. I welcome you all to the special series, Digital Mavericks. Digital Mavericks is a forum where we feature tech entrepreneurs who have harnessed the potential of the internet, negotiated the digital space incredibly well. And in doing so, they have created a name for themselves and their brand. There's a lot more to learn from their journey. Moderated by Anand Patil, Director Systems Engineering at Cisco India, these engaging sessions feature two dynamic tech entrepreneurs, Farrhad Acidwalla of Rockstah Media and CYBERNETIV Digital, and Harsha Murror of Teslon Technologies. First up, we have the young and dynamic Farrhad Acidwalla, who is all of 26 years old but has been an entrepreneur for half his life.
So let's get on with it by welcoming our first Digital Mavericks, Farrhad Acidwalla, founder of Rockstah Media and CYBERNETIV Digital. Farhad is a technology and a media entrepreneur, investor, 3-time TEDx speaker, and a mental health influencer. All this, and he's not yet 26. All right, he's all of 26 years old. Farhad, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's an absolute privilege, and I'm looking forward to this talk. I'm brimming with energy, looking forward.
You've lived half your life so far as an entrepreneur. So do you want to tell us about where it all started? How did it all begin?
As they say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. And, it was literally that one step which I took back in school, followed by a series of events. We had this aero modeling class in school where the sir who taught us aero modeling was extremely passionate about the sport. And he was actually an entrepreneur himself. And one Friday after class, I came across this article on making websites. And suddenly there was this spark that went off. All I could think of was aviation and website. How can I combine the two? So that's the background. Created a few websites in school, sold them for a sizable profit, saved up. And that's how I got the startup capital to start my first business.
So tell us a little bit more about Rockstah Media. What's that about?
So I was doing very well with these personal projects in school. By the time I was waiting for my 10th grade results to come out, I'd already flipped quite a few websites. And the one question, so this one question, when it bit me, there was no looking back. And that was, if I can make successful web properties for myself, why can't I do this for clients? And there was the startup ecosystem for young people was non-existent. Like if you went and told someone you want to start a company back in 2009, this little tiny guy, everyone would just be like, study first, please. This is not the time to be doing all these things. But the perseverance, and I had no clue how to start a business. But I knew there were two steps to it. The first was getting the clients, and the second was building the team.
Can you focus a little bit on what challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
So when I started my first business, and it was literally, I was like, when you're as cute as I am, everyone gives you meetings, but very few people cut you a check. So, I would take my parents' phone, contact every business uncle and auntie, all the way from Churchgate in Bombay to camp in Pune, and dozens and dozens of meetings. But, no one was cutting me that check. But I ended up getting my first client, my dentist, and it didn't matter how big or small the client was. All I decided was, this is going to serve as a portfolio. And what happened was balancing education my formal education along with the business was definitely a challenge. So even during board exams, my schedule would be, give the board exam, and somewhat knew that my phone is ringing over there. It was on silent, but I could sense that it was ringing, and I knew a client is calling. So I did my best in the exams. I did do decently, but the priority was my business.
What keeps you going? What's something that fires you up?
So real motivation is something that comes from within. And I used to think that, passion is what's pushing me forward. But over the years, I've realized that it's more of my calling, that providing value, building products, services, starting from nothing, building it to something. That entire process is something that just keeps me going and creating value for all stakeholders in the process.
So let's come to your other venture now, CYBERNETIV Digital. How did you come about that enterprise?
One of my talents is to notice trends just before they're about to become mainstream and rapidly create a team, rapidly create a product. It's something that's come with experience. So I don't want the aspiring entrepreneurs to think that, it's so easy. But it's literally like 10 years of experience coming together And I have the network. It's basically a formula. The variables keep changing. Every technology business has literally the same formula. Variables are go up, down. So I've kind of got a formula in my head. It's basically finding the trend at the right time. You can find that market fit. It will push you forward.
What do you think should young tech entrepreneurs and SMEs keep on top priority? Is digital footprint what they should be thinking of? Effective cybersecurity measures, is that what they should be thinking of?
An effective digital footprint and cybersecurity is rudimentary. It's basic. It's highly competitive out there, and scaling up and protecting your assets is extremely. It's like one of the essentials and the building blocks of any business.
You talked about Rockstah Media, your first venture, and from what I could understand, it's about creating awesomeness. So how did you go about creating a digital strategy for this brand?
The strategy was basically providing value, and we were one of the first agencies actually coming out and saying that we're going to give you X ROI, and if it doesn't come through, you can cut 50% of our retainer. That's the way we looked at it. So that was something very new to the brands, and it wasn't something... now, it's so competitive. It's literally coming down to paise on the ROI. But at the time, it was refreshing. It was a breath of fresh air for all the brands. And it really helped us cut through the crowd. So again, at that time, we were not competing for price or quality. We were literally competing on how do we make you stand out. Word of mouth, things kept spreading. And one client led to the next. And a lot of times, top level leadership leaves a certain company and goes to another company. Literally, again, we're called back. So that's how we grew. It's the quality of your relationships. Are they going to stand by you? What's the kind of authenticity that you have displayed? Will they vouch for you? That's what counts.
You talked about a little bit of change of strategy for the company. But whatever you've learned from Rockstah Media, did that change your approach towards CYBERNETIV out of front?
It was very important to unlearn things, because sometimes we get these preconceived notions that this won't work, that won't work, and you don't end up trying things. So I kind of fell for that trap, but I also wanted to, balance it out, figure things out. And sometime last year, we decided to start a B2C vertical, which was basic education and, helping talent become elite ethical hackers. Because we noticed that the corporates want this quality, but the output coming in the industry is somewhere here. So that gap was not being bridged. And at the same time, I realized that I'm competing with brands whose monthly marketing budget is more than, what my entire team is getting paid, for like a quarter or two. So what we did is we just put this ad out, and we, of course, gamified the whole experience. So the entire experience was gamified to another level, where we just said, all you have to do is find the admin page of our website, and we'll give you 1 lakh rupees if you find it. And that spread like wildfire on WhatsApp in the hacking community. It spread on Facebook. We got a decent number of likes, Instagram, and everyone's like, this has got to be easy. And when they tried, literally every attempt would give an error. Cute attempt. Oh, not so easy. Maybe you should try this. And, we try and educate them too in the process. And after a few attempts, we'd have this nugget pop up that, buddy, it looks like you need our cybersecurity training.
What would you say is a 3 or 5 point agenda for an aspiring tech entrepreneur to be successful today?
The first is, as harsh as this sounds, nobody cares about you. No one cares about you. Your key has to be to remain relevant. Another point is consumers are becoming smarter and smarter. They know how to separate an authentic brand from an inauthentic one. So the minute, you show that authenticity, and if you can convince your consumer or, the enterprise you're providing services to, if you can get them to be your advocates or your ambassadors, there is nothing better than that. To all the aspiring entrepreneurs, I want you to know every single tool that you think of, every single API requirement that you might have, everything is available. It's one Google search away. It's, are you putting in that thought? Are you putting in the research? Do not describe your services. Talk how you're solving their problem.
What advice do you have for our audience on the one thing that they should keep in mind?
A lot of young entrepreneurs, they're not able to handle setbacks. It's because the mental resilience at a young age is something that's definitely lower than compared to an experienced entrepreneur. I want to quote Randy Pausch here, and he said, experience is what you get when you didn't get what you actually wanted. Look at yourself as a Pokemon, always leveling up, always figuring it out. Every every negative experience is actually expanding you to something positive. So the one takeaway I have for you is that nobody can beat the person who never gives up.
If you were to give our audience a parting line, would you say?
Quoting Jim Rohn here, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Keep skilling up every single day. You need to have futuristic knowledge. So skill up every day. Figure how to compound your time allocate that time, improve your skill set. Make sure that your knowledge is not too focused on one industry. Being sector agnostic really helps, and you've got this. Don't worry. Don't doubt yourself. You've really got this.
Really valuable information there. Great call, Farhad. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure a lot of the audience would have found this a very interesting talk. It's been very enjoyable for me. I learned a lot, so thank you so much.
We'll cut to a very short commercial break now and come back with another engaging session. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Digital Mavericks, the forum with informative sessions with young tech entrepreneurs. Next up, we have Harsha Murror of Teslon Technologies, an innovator and an entrepreneur with a deep passion for technology. Harsha founded Teslon Technology, which develops CareNation product. Without wasting any more time, over to Anand Patil of Cisco India for the session.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Anand Patil here again, and it is my pleasure once again to welcome you to this second section of Digital Mavericks. Innovator and entrepreneur with a deep passion for technology, he co-founded Teslon Technologies, an IoT-based healthcare startup focused on remote healthcare delivery. He believes in innovating for a better tomorrow, innovation that can touch lives and make a difference. Please join me in welcoming the CEO, Harsha Murror. Welcome, Harsha. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for the introduction, Anand.
When and how did this journey start? So what led to the creation of Teslon Technologies?
For me, it was back in 2014, where I was still at Cisco. I was working for Cisco, and in December of 2014, I quit my job. The idea to kind of quit was multiple things, right? We were a bunch of young minds who wanted to kind of really go ahead and then code and then really build something really awesome, really cool. And then we used to go to this hackathons, and we've actually won a lot of hackathons. The point where I began to think about entrepreneurship or a journey was when I saw about what's happening to the cool ideas, the cool things that we built, right? It was never really reaching its logical conclusion. It was never reaching a user. I come from a tier 2 city or a small coastal town of Karwar in the west coast of India. So while the town is really beautiful, it is amazing to kind of live there. The healthcare facilities, not so great, right? And I've seen my dad personally travel about 600 kilometers just to get a cardiac consultation, right? And that's where we wanted to kind of really focus on healthcare as a technology startup. And we wanted to kind of look at how horizontal technologies like Internet of Things and collaboration and overall the network and how come together and bring about that whole ecosystem in terms of delivering care for people who are in need.
So what were the few major hurdles that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
As for any product that you actually build, right, the validation of it becomes really it. And also in terms of the traditional healthcare players, while things are changing now, right? I mean, in terms of that open mind about technology adoption and then how technology can help, deliver better care, things were not the same. I mean, when we started off, right? People were hesitant to kind of do that technology adoption. The idea is to see, where are the champions, right? You look at champions who can actually take your technology, right, which is raw, and then really kind of use it, give you feedback. And that is very important in your early days, right? They are someone who will actually run along with you, give you that inputs, that insights that you definitely lack, because they are the ones to understand the field, the vertical, the best. And you need to listen to them. You need to have an open mind, find someone who has an open mind on the other side. And when you can collaborate, that's when you can actually overcome those hurdles and really bring about that solution that is right as a market fit. And also it kind of gives you that validation, that adoption, right, in the early days.
How did you actually tap business with enterprises and expand into multiple markets like you have?
while there have been, healthcare solutions from the earliest times of computers, right? There has been so much of standards that have been built up as well. And the second side of the story is, while there have been, this technology adoption within this industry, there has also been this of legacy systems being carried on, right? And also in terms of cutting edge technology adoption, the adoption is kind of slower because you always want to kind of build on top of what you already have, and that is built with a certain technology. And technology migration is not always easy. So that brings startups in a very good place where you have the potential to disrupt with newer technologies that you can introduce to the market. But the most important thing that you need to keep in mind is to adhere to those standards. And that again enables you or brings you to another sweet point where you can speak with partners, right? So it makes sense to collaborate with the existing players in the market. It makes sense to collaborate with larger SIs who can bring in a lot of different players and then stitch them all together, take it to the customer so that it actually solves a larger problem. And also be open to customization. So every market is going to be different.
Bringing all of that together, right? If you think about the problem that you're solving in terms of healthcare, with remote connectivity, and you're leveraging technologies like machine learning, AI, Internet of Things, what does the future mean for you?
Our goal with AI and our goal with bringing in machine learning to the whole remote care delivery aspect was more modest, let's say, where we wanted to see how we can augment this current doctor capacity with technology, right? I mean, what we want to do is really help in terms of triaging, really help in terms of reducing the errors, the human errors that can happen, really give some hinting, give some automated kind of suggestions as to what it is. Also kind of take in that human-entered free text notes and then codify them so that you can actually make sense of that data later.
What's the kind of marketing strategy that you have built for your brand?
The marketing strategy for us is to kind of really find the right partnerships, right? And then work with those partners to make sure that your product is going and then reaching your customer. Right? For example, we are partnered with Cisco, and then we are doing a lot of projects with Cisco. And Cisco actually is a great enabler. We as a company kind of had this goal of being core to technology and then the problem that we solve. To kind of keep that vision true or stay true to that vision, what you need to do is really focus on how you can, take your product and then build a product, right? And then work with your actual customers on the product. But at the same time, worry less about how you're going to kind of do the end execution, how you're going to kind of position this within that market. The GTM strategies that you can actually do, right, as a joint GTM strategy, that I would say is the most important. Also on the other side, right, when it comes to B2C, I'd say, focus more on, what your product is and how you can actually reach out to far more number of people. And some businesses that by design, right, inherently are, cash hungry. So make sure that you are raising capital at the right step or the right point, and then really kind of going out and then doing that customer acquisition. But I'd say, don't really mess up your unit economics, right? Doesn't matter what you're doing. Make sure that everything that you do has got a return. Make sure that, there is at least the unit economics that is right. So that once you scale, you will kind of realize that, because your unit economics is right, you have a positive return versus, you giving something at a loss and then you're carrying more losses.
When it comes to tech entrepreneurship, Harsha, what are the key factors that determines brand presence and survival in the times to come? I mean, this has probably been a test of your company, and I'm sure you have an interesting experience to share.
While COVID has definitely been pathetic for the entire world, there's also some other sides of the story of COVID where there has been active tech adoption in healthcare, right? And that's where us along with Cisco have also been working on in terms of the COVID care management. So we have a solution that has got this tele-ICU or tele-care cards, which are deployed within the isolation wards or the ICUs within the COVID hospitals. So the idea is to see how we can reduce the risk of exposure for the doctors who are providing. And that's where this card actually comes in as well, where you have like a panel of doctors within the command and control center. And these doctors can actually be called in as and when needed for the examination to that patient. So you're providing better care to that patient, right, in terms of getting the right specialist that is required for that patient. At the same time, what you're also doing is cutting the risk of exposure for those doctors.
If you were to offer our viewers a mantra for success in their ventures, what would it be?
The way you think about entrepreneurship is something that you should actually focus on a journey versus the result. It is not going to be something that is a project that's going to kind of have a fixed deadline at the end of year one, and that is your result, and then you're successful or not. It is going to be a journey. There is learning along your journey. There might be failures. There might be pivoting. So feel free to kind of pivot. Right? Keep an open mind about where you started. Have a purpose. Have a vision. That is something that can actually help you in the longer run. Where all these fancy things, finance, and all the things in the world can actually die down. But then, in your heart, if you are committed, if you have that purpose that you can actually find when you kind of start out with that journey, that will keep you going. You need to make sure that you're, also kind of looking out for the right partners, your right board where you can actually work with them. We wanted to kind of measure our success in terms of the impact that we can do, in terms of the numbers of patients that we can reach, in terms of how we can solve real problems on ground, and that is success for us. Entrepreneurship is something that is a great tutor. For the past 5 years, I've learned more than what I could learn in, let's say, the last 25, 30 years. So, it's something that can teach you a lot.
Thank you very much, Harsha. I do want to thank you. A very informative as well as, I would say, inspiring session in terms of understanding the kind of impact that Care Nation is trying to bring in on the healthcare section.
Keep your passion alive, align with your purpose, and continue to grow. Well, those were two immensely engaging and relevant sessions in a special program, Digital Mavericks. A big thank you to all our special guests, our moderator Anand Patil, and entrepreneurs Farrhad Acidwalla and Harsha Murror for joining us. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your time.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.